I'm Justin Wood. I'm the Republican Senate candidate for Senate District 17 in the Shawnee, Hara, Choctaw, Tecumseh, Pottawatomie County area. And I'm here today with Wong to talk about all things Oklahoma, politics, national politics, Republican Party, families, relationships. We just have a great time discussing things that matter most to us.
Welcome back to the Undefeated Defining Moments podcast. This episode is sponsored by our great friends M&D Drilling out of Waller, Texas, and of course also sponsored by our Unlimited Freedoms. Today's special guest is Justin Wood, running for State Senate District 17, and let me back that up. It's Chief Justin Wood. Thank you for taking your time coming on the show, sir.
Anytime you invite me, I'm here.
I love it. We actually had you on about 6 years ago.
That's right.
We met off of Twitter, and you were actually, at that time, the youngest chief for the Sac and Fox Nation.
I was.
Prior to that, you were in the House of Representatives.
Yes.
And then, fast forward to now, you decided that you're going to run again running for state senator.
That's right.
Yeah, so let's just get into this. Why?
When I decided not to run for re-election to the state house, my wife and I kind of talked through what those options were, whether that was the right move for us at that time, and it was. We had a growing family. I had responsibilities at home that you miss those whenever you're at the Capitol all day long, and it really is. I mean, it's a part-time job, but it takes all of your time to do it effectively. And so I came home one day and told my wife, I said, I'm not quite sure that I can be as effective as I want to be, and also be as present as I want to be as a young father. I mean, I left office. I was 25 years old, almost 26. And so we talked through, what that would look like to leave something I really enjoyed doing, and whether it would be something we'd ever do again in the future. And we both agreed that it might be something we'd try again in the future. And really, everything has just kind of worked out in such a way that now feels like the right time.
Yeah.
Children, our oldest is going to turn 15. Our youngest just turned 8 a couple days ago. And so everyone's a little bit older. They're all part of the process now. The two children that I had when I was in office, actually we had 3 by the time I left. The 2 I had while I was in office, they were 5 and 3 when I left office.
Wow.
So it's just it's definitely a different time in our lives, and we're ready to move forward. And I just love serving the state of Oklahoma. Yeah. And I love serving my hometown in Shawnee, and really getting to know the areas surrounding it that I didn't know as well before. It goes all the way into Hara and a little piece of Choctaw. Yeah. So I've been in Hara and Choctaw quite a bit, getting to know our friends out there too. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. I'm going to tell you that I am grateful for our friendship. Number one, because you trusted my wife and I to have you on the show and do a good job for you. And then also, that we can't vote for you because you're in Shawnee, we're in more Norman area. And for the last 6 years, we've stayed connected. We've been friends through the whole virus pandemic. And, man, I want to let you know I appreciate you.
Relationships are everything. Yeah. They're absolutely everything. That's how the world works. That's what brings me the most joy in my life, are the relationships that I have with people. And when you have true friendships, you don't let any sort of distance, large or small, impact that. Yeah. And there's no such thing as a relationship that's transactional. Yeah. You might do things for one another. Sure. But you don't have a relationship just because someone can do something for you. Yeah. It transcends that. Yeah. So you're one of those guys.
Man, I appreciate that.
You Mark both. And now champ.
Yeah. And now champ.
That's right.
That's right. Hey, that coffee mug to the right, you remember Jimmy Wilkerson?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
And so he and I were going to start this thing called Level Up, and then unfortunately he passed away. However, I feel like that mindset is your mindset. Everything you do, you're trying to level up. So I also want to give your dad a gift from me.
Yes. I will give it to him.
And thank him for his service.
My father is the Pottawatomie County Sheriff.
Yeah.
And we've been in law enforcement for, nearly 40 years now.
That's amazing.
You for this. And he'll have it there in his office with him.
Wait, did you say he's been in law enforcement for nearly 40 years?
Nearly 40 years.
The man looks like he's about 35.
Yeah, he looks very young, and his energy level is high.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he was a Shawnee police officer for 36 and a half years.
Oh my
before
goodness.
He retired and ran for sheriff, and so now he's got 38 years in.
Okay.
Ish, somewhere in there. A long time. A lot of guys retiring earlier these days, but he stuck. Yeah. He stayed in it for the long haul, and no, I'm super proud of him.
That's awesome, man. I'm sure he's very super proud of you too.
He and my mom both are just, really the reason I decided to go into office was because my mom's a teacher, my dad's a police officer, and I watched them both serve the community, and I really wanted to be a police officer. That was what I wanted to do. And my dad pulled me aside when I was a junior in high school and said, Justin, I really want you to do something that's less political and makes way more money. So, of course, I go to school to be a teacher, and then I run for office before I even graduate from college. And so I'm never going to make any money, and I'm never going to probably be outside of things that are political in nature. And really, when I say political in nature, everything you engage in has some level of politics, whether it's the political world that we think of when we say that, or just the way we work within offices, and those are all different elements of politics. But I enjoy that relationship building aspect of politics, and it's just something that I've really grown to enjoy.
Yeah. You said you're not going to make money off of politics. I'm going to really get into that question. Well, hold on a second. But true. Before we get into that question, there's another coffee mug I want to give to your mom.
Sure.
From us too. We talked off air why I think she's a legend, and I'll tell you why she's a legend, because the wife or the moms of the world are truly amazing humans. And to support your dad, your family, and then now you've been running in politics for a while, that takes a lot of toll.
Right.
I would imagine that takes a really undefeated mindset to support.
And to back that thought up, when my wife called me and said, "Hey, I think we're ready to do this." So we talked back and forth. We've been praying about it, visiting with people, getting to know people across the district, just in case we decided to make the decision to run. And she calls me and says, "Let's go for it." My first call was to my mom, and I said, "Hey, I haven't decided 100% to pull the trigger on this yet. If you're not in it, I don't want to do it."
Yeah.
And why are you asking me? Well, just for what you just said. I mean, the entire family goes through it when you do it the right way.
Yeah.
And again, it's not about power. It's not about the money. It's about serving your community. And unfortunately, when you get into roles like this, I mean, there are good sides of it and bad sides of it. Yeah. There's people that are for you and people that are against you. And your family and your supporters and your loved ones have to live through that with you. And so that's something I want to make sure that, she was okay with that as well. And then, my dad's always along for the ride. So
yeah,
he's in it. But I wanted to make sure that, my mom was ready to go through that again, because she had just gone through it with my dad as he ran for the sheriff's race. And she knew that there was probably a point in time where I'd feel called back into public service again. But I wanted to make that call. So thank you for saying that about her, because she does. She works hard for all of us.
Yeah. I met them both on your inauguration of your campaign trail. And
sure.
So, yeah. Good people. Yeah. Now we're going back to that question: politics and money.
Right.
Now I see things on Twitter, and I don't know if that's all true. I would say some yes, some no. But there's some politicians that have made a lot of money.
That's right. In
politics, prior to getting into politics, they were okay, and now they're multimillionaires, 7 figures, 8 figures. Maybe 9 figures. What are your thoughts, man?
I don't think you should ever get into a role of servant leadership with the anticipation to make your living from that, right? It should be a period of your life that you step aside and you serve. And I think the biggest issue we have is obviously at the federal level, where you have people that are running for office and they're there forever. And, there's accusations of insider trading or having access to information other people don't have when it comes to the stock market. And it sure seems like some of them are getting information that the rest of us don't have. It sure seems like it. But I think that's where the sentiment comes from, is they come in and you see these charts. And again, I'm not going out and checking to see if these are legitimate or not, so I can't speak to that. But you see these charts that pop up in social media on X or Facebook, and it shows how much they were worth when they went into office, how much they're worth now, years later. And some of them do seem to have a lot more money if it's accurate, right?
Sure.
And so I think it's important for anybody, whether it's state level office or really important areas like school board or city council or up there in the federal level, your heart has to be about service. It cannot be about self.
Yeah.
Once you get there, it can be tricky because people want to make you feel real special. And guess what? You're not very special. You're there representing however many other thousand people or several 100,000 people, depending on what role you're in. You're their voice. That's the only thing you're there to do, is to be their voice. And if it's not about that, then you're not going to be effective for them. And you have to keep that mindset. But I mean, I've been there before. People want to make you feel special. You just have to keep reminding yourself, I am not special.
Yeah.
At home, I'm special. I'm a husband. I'm a father.
Yeah.
Here, I'm not special. I am one of however many thousand constituents that I'm representing.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Speaking of constituents, what all comprises of District 17?
Sure. So Shawnee is at the heart of it. And then, so that's my hometown. You have, and it goes into Oklahoma County,
Okay.
Harrah, Choctaw,
Okay.
little bit of Choctaw, not a lot of Choctaw, a little bit of Choctaw, all of Harrah. And you have communities like McLeod and Dale, and then it goes into South Pottawatomie County. And so you go all the way, the southern border is Asher and Wanette. So it's a big area to cover. It's much different than when I was in the House seat, and it was Shawnee, Bethel Acres, and some of this little surrounding communities around us. And it's different. I was in Harrah, so I was in Harrah twice in the same day, and in Tecumseh, and back in Shawnee, I think it was Thursday.
Wow.
All day long, just going back and forth. Because these are events that are important to people, or meetings that you want to have. And that's the way it's going to be when you're in office, too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not putting some miles on your tires, you're not doing the job right.
Yeah.
You have to get to know people. You have to learn what they care about and what matters to them. And you're not effective if you're not doing that.
Sure.
And you want to be an effective leader.
Yeah. How do you become an effective leader?
Listening first. That's the first thing you have to do. If you don't listen well, and I've spent a long time learning to be a better listener, which means talking a lot less than I'm talking right now. You're a good listener. It means that you come into a room, and instead of being the first person that opens their mouth, you're listening to everyone else first. And that's important. I had a meeting the other day, and I left it thinking I forgot to ask a question. I let them ask me every single question, and I forgot to ask one. So I called the person up after I left, like 5 minutes after I was out the door. And I said, man, I am so sorry. This is the one question I wanted to ask you. And I didn't ask it because you were busy asking me all these questions, then our time was up. Mm-hmm. And the question I always ask people is, what is the most important thing going on in your life right now? And there's variations of it. What's the greatest goal? What's the goal you have for this year? What goals have you set? What's important to you? Those types of things. What's the biggest issue going on right now? There's variations of that question. But I want to know, because if I know the answer to that question, then I know you. I mean, one of the first questions I asked you when I came in here today was, is tax season going to be crazy for you?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's a busier time of year for you in the business that you run or not.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, how fast are you going to return my calls this month? I don't know. Next month, April. So you start having those questions, and you get to know more about people.
Yeah.
You got to be quiet long enough to hear them answer.
Yeah. Well, I return your calls and texts pretty quickly.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what time of day. Are you a New Year's resolutionist? Do you make New Year's resolutions?
It's a good question. I make resolutions, and mostly they're more like life resolutions.
Sure.
I try to stick with them. Are you going to ask me what mine are for this year?
I was going to ask you what yours are for this year.
Okay. So one of the resolutions that I have for this year is I want to live a healthy lifestyle all year long. So that's not healthy January. There's different variations, again, of healthy January. There's dry January. There's keto January or carnivore January. People have all these different fads. I want to do this for the whole year. And I want to make sure that the lifestyle I'm living, and that stress level, anxiety, time with family, what I put in my body, I want to do that well for an entire year, because I'm really good at doing it for weeks at a time or even months at a time. But
Yeah.
I've been poor at doing the entirety of it for a full year, maybe.
Yeah.
So that would be a resolution I have for myself. What about you? You have a resolution?
I don't do New Year's resolutions. I don't really do those at all. I just believe that my goals are always ongoing,
Mm-hmm.
and if I can crush a goal, then it's all on to the next goal. And there's times I will need to modify my goal, and if I can't attain it, then it's probably on me somewhere down the line, and maybe the goal is just unattainable.
That's right.
And I have to just be honest with myself.
Yeah, I have students. I have high school students that'll ask me life advice, and as they're about to graduate, mostly they're seniors, and they'll ask me a question like, how do I achieve this goal?
Mm.
And I'll give them. This is what I would tell my kid. If Jocelyn or Everett or Harrison or Finley, if they asked me how to reach this goal, this is what I would tell you. This is how I would tell you to achieve it. But I would say, let's set several goals.
Mm.
But most importantly, let's just have a standard. This is my standard. And if I'm meeting this standard, then no matter what I do, there's an opportunity for me to meet that goal.
Yeah.
As long as my standard is where it's supposed to be. And for the most part, that resonates with them because they're being told over and over again, there's only one way to do something. You have to graduate from college, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. And the reality is, let's set our standard high. And if my standard is to be, if I want to be a plumber, I'm going to be the best dadgum plumber. If I'm going to be someone at a grocery store that's sacking groceries, I'm going to be the best person at that job.
Yep.
I'm going to be a police officer or whatever, teacher, whatever it is. I'm going to be the best I can possibly be. This is where my standard is.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about you is that you have high standards. I mean, every morning, you're getting up with a standard.
Yeah.
No, you have bad days. I'm positive you have bad days.
Sure. Yeah.
But you still have that set standard.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know what to expect from yourself, and better yet, I know what to expect from you.
Yeah.
So if you're having a bad day when I'm around you, I know something's happening, right? I think that's important. And the
Sure.
people around you and those people that you have relationships with should catch up and catch on really to what's going on in your life if something seems off, because they know who you are and those standards that you have.
Yeah. I like that, man.
Yeah.
What are some areas of concern for District 17?
So I would say District 17 goes as the state goes, as most districts are in the state of Oklahoma. And when I say that, I mean there are several issues that are impacting the entire state.
Sure.
And so I think there are definitely three that I think that need to be fixed. The number one is I want to see public education in Oklahoma be more successful. And I work in public education. That's important to me. My mom's in public education. It's important to me. We homeschool our kids, but that doesn't mean that public education shouldn't be important to everybody in the state, whether they have kids currently in the public school system or not. And I do think there are ways to move us up those rankings, whether we're 50th or somewhere in that ballpark in the country when it comes to results and the different criteria that we have. But there are different ways to fix that. One is I think we need to give students a reason to go to school.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have issues with reading and math, and there's ways to fix those. And whether it's through reading specialists, which my mom is now a reading specialist at North Rock Creek. She'd been in the classroom for, I think, 17 years prior to becoming a reading specialist. So there are different things we can do to help our kids be successful as they're coming up. But I think when they get into high school, we need to be connecting them to career tech earlier than we are.
Yeah.
So if we have students that may be high risk at dropping out or just being truant or checking out in class and just not paying attention, we give them a reason to be there by showing them a path out of where they are currently.
Oh, okay.
Showing them a path forward. And I think career tech we have such a great career tech system in the state. And in District 17, we have Eastern Oklahoma Career Tech, and then we have Gordon Cooper Career Tech in the district. And they're both fantastic technology centers. They give our students so many opportunities to succeed. But across the state, we're only serving about half the students that are applying to get into career tech. And there's a variety of reasons. I think we're going to hear funding or some of those reasons. And the other, I think, is because we just don't get started early enough. And so we have students that don't quite make the cut because of how they have performed prior to their junior year of high school.
Yeah.
And so I think if we start connecting them earlier, we can show them a pathway to success and start getting those career pipelines started earlier so that they see a future. And I think because of that, other subjects they're dealing with while they're in high school are going to improve because they see a reason for even being there at all.
Right.
And so there's a variety of ways we can do that. I think utilizing our career tech system along with the college system, the university system that we have in the state, and continue to diversify and create new ways to utilize those and take advantage of the systems that we have in place already. So that's one. Number two, I think Department of Human Services needs to be overhauled.
Mm-hmm.
So, DHS has many issues. One of them is just so big.
Yeah.
There's really no way to hold it accountable. I can't imagine auditing it is something that's easy to do. But we want to make sure that we're able to take care of families and take care of vulnerable citizens in the state, whether they're elderly or children, the right way. And so we have a lot of caseworkers that are overworked. And so I think one way to do that is to break it up into multiple, either we want to call them departments or agencies. It's just way too big the way it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can take it and break it apart and make it more efficient. Because efficiencies we need to look at all of our efficiency, see how we're performing.
Yeah.
But there's another place right there. And I'm hoping they're going to make some changes this session, and I don't have to worry about coming in and making some of those changes when I get here. And I've talked to several legislators about some of the changes I think need to be made. And if that doesn't happen before I get there, I'll run some legislation when I do get there.
Nice, man.
Yeah. And then the last thing, I do want to see our higher ed perform at a higher level. And so when I was in the legislature, one of the committees I sat on, I was actually vice chair of higher ed and career tech. So you heard about my love for career tech. Well, I also think we should hold our universities and colleges to a really high standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fortunate enough in my district to have a Seminole State College just down the road from me in Seminole. So it's actually just outside of my district, but a ton of my families and students either work there or go to school there. And then Oklahoma Baptist University.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have some fine institutions around us. And so I want to hold every school, every college, every university in the state to a very high standard.
Yeah.
And that means making sure our students are leaving with the opportunity to be successful. If they're getting a college degree, there better be a job out there for them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not set them up for failure.
Sure.
Let's not start them in debt greater than they need to be because we're forcing them to pay for room and board or for meal plans that they don't need to be paying for. I mean, there are ways to be more effective. Most importantly, I want to make sure that we're actually setting students up on pathways to career success. So if they're going to school for something, there needs to be an actual opportunity for a job in it when they leave.
Sure. That makes perfect sense, Chief. Now, my question is, do you feel like there's so many degrees out there on universities that can potentially not really land you a job?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Because I think at OU they have classes on Harry Potter.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out how I'm
Sure.
going to get a job being a Harry Potter major.
I don't imagine there'll be very many jobs out there for you in that situation. There are probably more than a few that we can identify and say, let's not worry about this.
Yeah.
I mean, electives are fun,
Sure.
but we definitely shouldn't be having students majoring in something where there's no future for them. Now, we're taking their money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we're doing at that point.
Yep.
And of course, right now we're dealing with a situation where really what employers want is they want experience more so than even the degree.
Yeah.
In fact, the job I'm in right now is the only job I've ever had that's cared about my degree.
Right.
It's because I work for a public school,
Sure.
or they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So it's, but I also got my degree in English. How useful has that been for me until now? Not very.
Yeah.
But there was a possibility for me to get a job when I left. I was going to be able to go out and become a teacher if I wanted to be.
Sure.
Or an administrator or whatever it is that I wanted to go forward and do. But we want to make sure that students are actually being set up for success. And I think I'm one of many people out there that feel that way. I'm not the only one. And when I'm on the doorstep, education's the number one thing that pops up. And they always want to hear about higher ed and they want to hear about common ed. Those are the two things they're asking about. And it's just something that resonates.
Yeah. Well, English, to defend you, is a tough major. It's kind of like linguistics is a tough major.
Sure.
Those aren't easy.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a teacher who, and I won't use this teacher's name, that decided to get a different job halfway through the school year, and so coasted the rest of the year while I was in high school. And I remember going up to this teacher after school ended that I think it was my junior year, and said, I want to go to school to be a teacher. So this is after my dad had talked me out of being a police officer. I wanted to go to school to be a teacher because of you. And this teacher started beaming. And I said, because you've shown me what it's like to be a not so great teacher. And I was gracious, but I just was like, I love English. I love it.
Yeah.
And you made it really hard for me to enjoy this semester. And I'm sure there's people in this class that didn't enjoy it.
Wow.
And so we've laughed about it since. We've had a conversation about it and laughed about it since. But they didn't like teaching.
Yeah.
And so when this individual was done teaching, they went off and did their own thing. And I don't think they've been back in education since. But I felt like it was a waste of a semester of school for me. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think this teacher's going to vote for you?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Different party.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And on the very extreme of that party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I know where that's going.
Yeah. And I'm a Republican.
Sure. Yeah. Do you feel being a Republican, I want to say coming out as a Republican because that sounds awful. I don't even know why people like, oh, I just come out as a Republican. But do you feel like being a Republican, conservative, suppresses? Do you feel suppressed?
I feel like there are rooms in which my opinion is ignored at times because of it. But I don't think that's an everyday thing.
Sure.
I think it's very special rooms that I'm in, or unique rooms that I'm in. You know, I'm fortunate to be in a part of the state that's very conservative.
Sure.
And so most of the rooms I'm in, if we're not right on track with each other, we're at least like-minded.
Sure.
But there are rooms you go into and you're ignored immediately because of the party they know you are, especially because everyone knows I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's questioning. I mean, I walk into a room as an educator. I mean, they know who I am. They know I served as a Republican. They know that I was the only Republican, chief in the United States for a little while at least.
Yeah.
And so they know these things about me. And so it's not surprising to them when I walk in the room, probably what I think about a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But I don't know if suppressed is the right word, but definitely feel like sometimes they don't want to hear my opinion on some things because it might be different than what they want to hear.
However, I would say that you would listen to them.
Oh, 100%. You know why?
Because I know you have.
Because I actually care.
Right.
I mean, I'm being serious. Like, I really do. I mean, there was a constituent, I believe she's still a constituent, or still would be a constituent in this Senate district, and when I was in the House, very left wing of her party, and she'd come up on Pro-Life Day to argue for abortion or pro-choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I let her sit in my office and tell me why she thought she was right, and we talked about that. I mean, she knew she was not going to change my mind.
Sure.
But she also knew I was going to listen. And because of that, we had a good relationship.
Yeah.
I don't think she's voted for me ever, but I can't imagine a world in which she would. But I also think she respected me.
Sure.
Because I respect her.
Yeah.
And it's important for me for people to know that. And I have friends who 100% don't agree with me. And I think I don't know that they would vote for me. I'd like to think they would. But we break bread together. We visit about things together. And it's important for me to know what's important to them. And, I think a lot of times those relationships can transcend politics. And that's when you have the people that might mark a Republican vote on their ballot one time and the rest of them be Democrat or the other way around.
Sure.
Because of those relationships.
Yeah. What did 2020 teach you as a person?
Well, I was chief of the Sac and Fox Nation at the time. It taught me a lot. I learned quickly that, number one, you have to verify every piece of information that you hear. So important. Because there was a period of time when you didn't know what to believe.
Sure. And
you're sitting there wondering if you're ever going to be able to talk to anybody again. Or at least be in a room with people again. It was a very strange period of time. And once I started kind of broadening the voices I was listening to, because when you're in tribal politics, I mean, there's usually a liberal tint.
Sure, yeah.
And so I was hearing things that, I didn't necessarily agree with. And one of the things that I'm really proud of while I was chief of the tribe is that I opposed vaccination mandates while I was chief. I was able to keep that from happening for over a year. And it wasn't until right before I left the tribe that they forced a vote through in which I opposed. but they were able to force a vote through some procedural avenues that we have at the tribe, and they ended up passing it. But I opposed it. I voted against it, but I was able to keep it from happening while everyone else was passing those mandates.
Yeah.
And when we had people that had been at the tribe for over 20 years that lost their jobs because they didn't want to be vaccinated.
Wow.
And I still have relationships with them to this day, but they were grateful that I cared enough about them to allow them to express whether it was a religious opposition to it or we just don't know enough about this vaccination to put this in our bodies.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of conversations that had to be had overall about that. But that's one of the proudest things while I was chief was I opposed that mandate.
Yeah.
And we found out since then that, guess what? It didn't do what they told us it was going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for people to recognize is we were told one thing and it was the exact opposite.
Right.
And it's true, by the way. I mean,
Sure.
It's not my opinion.
Right.
It's fact.
Correct.
And there's no way to argue that. But man, if I'd said that back then, and I should say this, if I would have said that on live TV back then, I would have been close to being crucified.
Sure.
I have friends that lost their jobs because of standing up against vaccine mandates as leaders. And because they stood up in a political realm and said they were opposed to it, lost their jobs at other places before there were vaccine mandates.
Wow.
And so we just have to be careful about allowing those situations to, I don't know, turn us into sheep.
Yeah.
Maybe that's maybe that's not the right way to put it, but we have to verify, and we need to be patient and slow down before we make some of these decisions that we make.
Yeah.
Because I think that, there were relationships ended, which again, we've already talked about how important relationships are to me, and I know how important they are to you. Relationships ended because of differences on COVID.
Yeah.
And people didn't get to see their loved ones as they died, or in nursing homes, and I think that's the worst thing we did during that whole pandemic was separating people from each other.
Sure.
It's such an important part of who we are is relationships and being around people that we know and care about, and laughter, and so I think that was probably the worst thing we did the entire time. But I changed as a person. I became much bolder, which is funny. As someone who's been in office and was in elected office at the time, I know I became a bolder person through COVID.
Yeah.
I became a better leader through
Yeah.
COVID. I became a better husband, a better father through COVID, and I think a better friend through COVID as well than I was prior to that, because it tested all sorts of hindrances upon ourselves. Everything that can hurt,
Yeah.
and you had to find a way to fight through that.
Yeah. It tested tolerance, boundaries. Yeah, for sure. Voter ID.
Yes,
Okay.
practice it.
Why is there such a big pushback on voter ID? Can you please explain that to me, Chief?
We do it here in the state of Oklahoma, and we still have voter fraud.
Right.
We have less of it because we have voter ID.
Sure.
Sac and Fox Nation has voter ID. You have to show your travel card or your ID, your state issued or federal issue ID, in order to vote for the Sac and Fox Nation elections. State of Oklahoma requires it. Every time I go vote, I show my ID.
Yeah.
The opposition to it, I think, is because people want people that are not citizens of this country to vote, to be able to vote, right? I think that's why. I don't know any other way to argue that. Why else would you be opposed to it? It's all you have to show. You can just show your voter identification card as a form of ID. There are ways to do it, and so I don't think there's really anyone that can say they don't have access to some form of ID.
Yeah.
I think the only reason people really push against the voter ID is because they want people to vote who shouldn't be voting.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. State question 836.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm opposed to it. We're talking about in the state of Oklahoma, you have every opportunity to have someone run within the party that you are a part of. and to represent you in November.
Mm.
So if you're an independent can run for office.
Yep.
A libertarian can run for office.
Yep.
Democrat, Republican. Nothing's stopping that from happening right now. It's not Republicans' fault if a Democrat doesn't get on the ballot, right? And so what we're doing is this is a solution looking for a problem. There's no problem looking for a solution here. It's not going to increase turnout in this state, I promise. You're talking about in the I think it would have been Kevin Stitt's first election cycle, he wouldn't have even made the November ballot.
Right.
It would have been 2 Democrats at the top of the ticket.
Yeah.
That doesn't represent Oklahoma. It might represent part of Oklahoma, but it doesn't represent the entire state. Multiple Democrats filed for office. A ton of Republicans filed that year.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, the vote was distributed much different on both sides. 2 on one side. I think there were, I don't want to give the wrong number, but I feel like there was more than 10 Republicans running in that primary. This was back in 2018, I believe. And so that would have been there'd have been 2 Democrats at the top, and that's all you could have voted for in November of 2018. It's a problem that doesn't exist in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Now, voter turnout, is that a problem? Sure, I want more people to vote. But I do not believe it's going to increase voter turnout in this state going away from the party system that we have currently.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'll be voting no if it gets to the ballot. I'm not sure where it is in that process right now. No, they're still trying to gather signatures for it. But and I know that right now there are people that said they signed it because they were told something that's not true.
Sure.
And so they signed it, and so there is a legal way to remove your name from that.
Yeah, I saw that.
But there are people actively trying to remove their name from that petition.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably a high chance that we end up having it on a ballot at some point in time. I would encourage people to think long and hard before they vote yes for something that's going to change the way that we elect people in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you're always going to have the choice between at least a Democrat and Republican in the state when it comes to statewide. Very rarely do we have one that I say always. I shouldn't say always. Most frequently, most often you have someone from both major parties, and then often we have people from either an independent or a libertarian on the ballot in November as well. Yeah. And if we want to argue about whether or not it's important for people to have someone to vote for in the primary, then file for office if no one else has.
Yeah.
Like if you're upset because let's Senate District 28 next door to mine. If no Democrats file for that seat and you have no one to vote for in June, you should file as a Democrat and run.
Yeah.
Or 17 or House District 26, whatever it is. You can go register so you have someone to vote for if that's that important to you.
Yeah.
Don't force me to have to possibly have no Republicans available because 12 people ran as a Republican and one person ran as a Democrat.
Right.
I think it increases power brokers, the power of power brokers, and to choose who's going to be on the ballot and force different candidates off the ballot possibly. Yeah. Because it's important to have the best candidate available. I mean, there's different arguments for why it's bad. But most importantly, I don't think it solves a problem that people have, or saying we have, which is low turnout, because I don't think it's going to increase turnout.
Right. Yeah. Well, if you want a dictator or socialist state, you would probably want that type of.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to find ways around conservatives getting into office, this is a really good way to do it.
Yeah, it might be the only way, actually.
So and I would argue that had this come up when Democrats were in power, they would be equally as opposed to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there are some Democrats that are opposed to it.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are probably some areas of the state where it makes it even harder for a Democrat to ever make the November ballot. Yeah. Statewide, it really, if Democrats did it the way I think they want to do it, they would make sure that they always had fewer candidates for these statewides. Yep. So that they could manipulate that system. Right. And again, it's not just Democrats pushing this. You have some moderate to liberal Republicans pushing it as well, which is really disappointing. I don't think we stand for the things we need to stand for in the party as we have in the past. But yeah, I mean, it's
gotcha. Trent England's a good source for that.
OCPA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good, very knowledgeable,
Yeah.
good guy too.
Yeah, actually was just accepted into the Fears Fellowship at OCPA.
Oh wow!
And so I'll be starting that this weekend. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I did not know
I'm
that.
excited to learn more. I'm going to be with a lot of people. So I think that I say a lot of people, a lot of younger people than me.
Yeah.
So you have to be 35 when accepted.
Uh-huh.
I turned 36 right after the acceptance, and I'm pretty sure everyone else was younger than me. So, which is good. I want to see a lot of young conservatives.
Yeah.
Growing up in the state and staying here in the state.
Yeah. When you're sitting in, when you're door knocking and they let, they let you into the house and you're
Sure.
sitting in the living room, and they state their top 35 problems that's going on with your district. Do they ever ask you personal things? Like, do they try to get to know you, constituents?
Sure, I think so. What's neat is most of my district already knows me and my family.
Okay.
Most of the district knows us really well because of my past.
Sure.
And my mom and my dad both being from the area. My dad for nearly his entire life. My mom for 3+ quarters of hers. Probably 80% of her life she's been in Pottawatomie County also. So there's a lot of issues or a lot of things about us they already know. But they do ask about the family and how everybody's doing, and some of them, what's your dad up to, what's your mom up to, ask about the kids, which is neat. But sometimes they'll ask me like, what's the most important thing to you about the district?
Yeah.
And mine's always, I think the district deserves the best representation they can possibly have.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been fortunate over the last several years in Shawnee to have good leaders.
Yeah.
And in Pottawatomie County to have good leaders. We have had 2 governors come out of Pottawatomie County. Brad Henry and Governor Fallon. Governor Henry and Governor Fallon were both originally from Pottawatomie County.
Yeah.
And Governor Henry actually served in the Senate seat, Senate District 17, before he was elected governor. And so we've had leaders that have been prominent in the state on both the Democratic side and the Republican side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it is an area with a long legacy and Chris Steele was Speaker of the House. And so we've had leaders from the Pottawatomie County area. So I think it's a legacy that needs to be met well by leading by example well and by serving well. And then Shane Jett and Ron Sharp were both in the Senate seat before me, and Ron Sharp was my government teacher, was my dad's government teacher. Shane Jett has been a friend for 20+ years. And so it's neat to be able to have the opportunity to kind of follow in all of those footsteps.
Yeah.
And represent an area that I care a lot about.
That's awesome.
But those relationships are there. But they do ask questions they're more pertinent probably to the role itself because they know us so well.
Yeah.
When we're in Hera, they'll ask more questions about the family.
Sure.
Because I look pretty young.
Yeah.
At least people think I look pretty young. And so they'll ask questions. Oh, you have 4 kids? How is that possible?
Yeah. Seriously.
So there are fun questions like that too. But it's it's good.
Jonah thought you were 25. What do you think, Jonah? He looks about 25.
I wouldn't argue with that.
I appreciate that. Thanks. I'll care more about that one day. Yeah.
Looks like you and Jonah just graduated high school. So
Yeah.
this next segment is going to be really fun.
Okay.
So we actually came up with some questions that we wanted to ask you, and then we fielded questions from our social media on Twitter, Facebook,
Okay.
Instagram to say, hey, if we were bringing a conservative politician who's in office or running for office, what would you want to know about that politician? And we did it for the other side too. Interestingly enough, we haven't had anyone from the left side. We had one reach out to us, and then they declined after a while. So I don't know what was up with that.
No telling.
But what is the GOP actually for in 2026 and beyond?
It's a good question. I think it's important because I like the way it's phrased too. What are we for? Because I do think we need to be a party that's for something and not just against things. All right. So if we talk about statewide, I think we're a party that should be for shrinking government, lowering taxes, protecting traditional values. I mean, those are the core things and what the Republican Party should be about currently. The GOP should be about currently. I mean, those are things that are represented in our what am I blanking on what it's called? You're going to have to cut this part out probably.
You hear that, Jonah? Cut
What's
this
it called?
Yeah.
Platform. Thank you. All right. So it's, so these are things that are actually represented in our platform. And so we need to make sure we're about shrinking government. So bad government needs to be shrunk.
Sure.
Needs to go away. Government spending that's on things we don't need to be spending money on. So bad spending needs to go away. Protecting traditional values, things that matter to us, matter to our families in the state of Oklahoma. And then we definitely need to be a party that is for protecting the borders. Right. So we start going out nationally. We need to be protecting our borders, making sure that people that care about this country's future are here, and people that don't care about our future shouldn't be here. When it comes to people that don't have, the right to be here. I mean, we have Americans that don't like America. They still have the right to be here.
Sure.
Right? But we don't have to let people in that don't like America that aren't American.
Right. Yeah.
So, and those are just a few things. We've talked a lot about what's going on in Venezuela, right? And whether or not we're a party that's an isolationist party or a party that's more war hawkish, right?
Yeah.
Or regime change is the word the other side's using right now, regime change. You guys want a regime change. No, we need to make sure that as an America First agenda, it means that anything we do needs to protect America first.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So if that means replacing a leader of another country, which, by the way, in that situation, not even a duly elected member of another country. Right. He had taken power from the duly elected person, never gave power to them, and removing them from power. That's something we should be for.
Yeah.
We should be for that. I mean, American lives ultimately will be saved because of that change. So that's probably something that's being discussed, especially in Trump world.
Sure.
Because so many MAGA people are isolationist leaning, and Trump has oftentimes portrayed himself as an isolationist. But really, I say that, he seemed to portray himself as an isolationist, but in reality, he's not really an isolationist. He is a pragmatic decision maker when it comes to what situations he wants to insert America into.
Yeah.
And it's a pragmatic approach. Is this going to benefit America? If it's not, we're not messing with it. It's not about power or taking over more land or manifest destiny or anything like that. It's about making sure America itself and its interests are protected.
Yeah.
Which is how he's used tariffs and several other things. So
Sure.
So those are some things that pop up. But we definitely need to be a party that cares about America first. Right?
Yeah.
So it benefits America, and it's something that we can achieve. We should do it.
Yeah. I believe that might probably be the best explanation of what America First means. Because I'm along the same lines with you. It's like, it's not just about cutting money and funds. It's like, what can we do domestically and geopolitically to protect Americans first?
Right.
If that means removing, a dictator that was not duly elected,
Right.
then that protects Americans, right? We talk about drugs, we talk about all that stuff. Someone on a clip said, well, actually the drugs that are exported or illegally here in the United States from there only cost $28,000 or just lives. I'm like, only. That's what I was like, how do you get? I mean, that word "only" baffles me.
Every life is precious.
Yeah.
We were talking about this in Sunday school this morning. My wife and I teach a 5th and 6th grade Sunday school class, and we talk about how every human being has been created. We believe that every human being was created in the image of God. Christian, non-Christian.
Sure.
We believe they were created in the image of God, and that because of that, they have innate value they're born with. They're conceived with this value.
Yeah.
And that's something else I think, we should stand for as a party. Not just the unborn, which I think is incredibly important to protect the unborn.
Sure.
But it's also incredibly important to protect life in general.
Yeah.
And so it's a situation where the woman was shot when she hit the ICE officer with her vehicle purposefully, and he tried to protect himself and shot her. I don't celebrate the fact that she lost her life.
Right.
That breaks my heart that she lost her life.
Yeah.
And it should break your heart that she lost her. Anytime someone's life is taken.
Yeah.
Whether it was in defense or done heinously.
Sure.
We should never celebrate that. Because every life matters. And so I do think it's important when we talk about, and I actually think Trump did a good job talking about that when that happened, which I don't always celebrate the way he talks about things. I wish sometimes he wouldn't say as much as he says. But I appreciate the way he talked about that. He goes, I didn't want her to die. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Her father-in-law was interviewed about it also, and he wished that she hadn't have been there. That she wasn't in the right state of mind to be in that situation. And all of it it was tragic. But life should be important to all of us. And I think the GOP needs to be a party that cares about life, the unborn, and all the way until the end of life with our elderly and caring for people. And
I like that. If you had to describe the Republican Party to a 15-year-old today, what vision of America would you want them to inherit 10 to 15 years?
All right. I would like them to inherit an America with, number one, safe, closed, protected borders, right? I want them to have a country where drugs are not pouring into it. I want them to have a country where they feel safe going to any part of the country, right? Right now, my kids are incredibly safe in Shawnee, Oklahoma, with a great county sheriff, right? and great law enforcement, and great neighbors, great teachers. Like, I'm incredibly fortunate to live where we live. But there are some places in this country where I wouldn't want my family to live.
Yeah.
So I want to see a country that's safe, right? So I want a vision of a safe country. I want a country with low taxes, where they're not taking everything from us as we earn it.
Yeah.
Right? I want to see a low income tax and no income tax in this country. I think that's something that we really should yearn for, as a country where your money's not taken from you after you've earned it.
Right.
Right. I think we need to be a country that is a fair tax country, a consumer tax or a consumption tax country. It's the most fair tax we have, the sales tax. It's the most fair of any taxes that we have. You have to be able to perform government, right? We all agree on that. Republicans and Democrats agree. You have to be able to have some functioning government.
For sure.
And so because of that, you have to have some taxes. The fairest way to do that is the consumption tax, the sales tax. I want to see a world in which there are opportunities and jobs available for you, so that we can. And really, I think about Oklahoma itself. I don't want my kids leaving. I want my 15-year-old daughter to stay in Oklahoma when she gets done with whatever she gets done with, whether that's career tech or college or goes into her career field. I want her to choose Oklahoma because it's a place that's vibrant and safe and a good tax environment. I mean, those are things I want to see for her. But most importantly, I want us to be a country that values life. Right? I want us to be a country that values people. And I think that as a party, we do a good job of that. And again, we talked about that already from conception till the end of life. I want to see us be a party that values that, and I want us to be a country that values that. And if we do that, I think that we have a bright future, because when we do those things, we have safe cities, we have safe towns, we have safe states, where people feel as if they can live life in a way that they can be successful. And contribute.
I like that, man. It's really good. What outdated talking points need to be retired by the Republicans?
Outdated talking points. I have to put more thought to something that's outdated. Do you have any off the top of your head that you feel like is outdated? See if I agree with you on it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question.
I'm thinking. There are a lot of talking points around the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq that were around the last time I ran, that were probably a little outdated as we were trying to get out of those. Both sides agreed that it was time to move on from that war, those wars. But we're not really talking about those anymore. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, for me, and I don't, on this outdated, I feel like the word racism should be outdated because it's too broad, it's too lazy, and it's too reckless. And I'm tired of the Republicans having to defend that. And I'm not against defending it. I'm just saying, why do we always have to defend it when we understand that, hey, man, you know what? Find some context. and bring it up.
Sure.
It's just like saying, "Oh, President Trump is a racist and he's whatever." Bring the evidence.
We use it as a term, or it's we, right? So it's used universally as a term to bring someone down without ever having any proof of them actually being, oh, you're a racist. Wong's a racist. We all must hate him now. Prove that he's a racist.
Yeah.
What did he do that makes him a racist? And also, was it done? What context was it done in?
Sure.
Was it done to bring someone down? Like, let's ask questions about why we're labeling someone that, or calling someone Hitler.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
But I don't. I mean, that would be more of a universal issue, not necessarily a party issue, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure there's something out there. I'm gonna think of it as soon as I leave the studio.
Yeah. Well, call up
I'll
Neutron and he'll put it in there.
We'll do it. Yeah.
On phone call. What's a family gap no one is addressing?
Family gap.
What's a family gap that no one is addressing?
Define family gap.
So is there a gap in that we got two working parents, not enough time with kids?
Oh, easy. Gotcha. Yeah, no. Yeah, we're in a world right now where it's almost impossible to survive as a single income home. Almost impossible. And so I definitely think that the most, in an ideal setting, there'd be able to be a parent that is with their kids at least until the time they get into school. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Ideal.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong in my mind with both parents working.
Right.
Right. That's fine. But ideally, you'd be able to have a parent that was with a child when they're not working and when they're not in school. I mean, so I think that would be ideal.
Yeah.
But anytime both parents have to work, or is a single parent working multiple jobs, whatever it might be, it just makes it harder to focus in on the child. And we're just in a world where it's almost impossible. If you're single, you almost have to have multiple jobs, unless you're fortunate enough to have a job that pays enough and has the benefits that you need to take care of your kids. But it's really hard.
Yeah.
To do it on one income in this country right now.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that as well, Chief. And what's unfortunate is if you think about, let's take another level, youth sports, how they are monetizing. Why does an under-8 soccer team that practices in Shawnee, Oklahoma, why is it necessary for them to go play in Kansas City on a tournament for one weekend?
Right.
Like an under-8 team or under 16 or under 19.
Right.
I mean, because number one, it's money. People were willing to do it. Coaches get paid X, Y, and Z for it. I was in competitive coaching for a long time, so I've seen it.
I think traveling sports are hard. It takes up a lot of time, and softball is a big deal in Tecumseh, and that's where I currently am employed for Tecumseh Public Schools, and recently won a state championship in softball. I think it was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And most of our girls also compete competitively during the summer in travel ball, and they're never home. They're always playing softball.
Right.
And I don't know if that's good either. Like, ultimately, I think it's great that they're chasing dreams, and this is with 7-on-7 football or AAU basketball.
Sure.
There's a lot less time to be a kid than there used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important for young people to get to run around outside and not have to be worried about the next ball game. But it's, I mean, talk about video games and never being off screens, and I mean, not that I don't want people to be watching this video on YouTube eventually, but like we're so engaged with screens.
Yeah.
And so that's as much of an issue. No one's walking outside and just breathing in fresh air. Everything is so anxiety driven, and stress driven, and we just continue to feed that. And I think you brought up youth sports. That's a place where there's probably a lot of unnecessary anxiety that's created for young people. Is it a great opportunity? Yes, but I still want young people to have an opportunity to just be a kid.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Do you have any anxieties, any stressors?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. No, it's that's a good question. I do. one of the things that I try to do is control what I can control and let the rest of it work itself out.
I like it.
And now that's probably a cliche somewhat, but I can't control everything.
Yeah.
And I usually stuff I can, and it's a limited amount of things I can, doesn't bring me anxiety. It's always the stuff I can control.
Sure.
Like I can go out there, I'll knock as many doors as I possibly can. It's when it gets dark out and I'm not knocking any more doors, I'm like, did I do enough? You can't control. You're done. It happened.
Yeah.
The day has passed.
Yeah.
Some absurdities surely happened. You can't do anything about those now. You move on to the next day. But yeah, sure. It's like a lot of people. I mean, it's the things you can't control that bring you the most anxiety. And
Yeah.
I try to remind myself, things I can't control, you got to let those things just happen.
Yeah.
And when you make mistakes, learn from them and move on.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
What should the Republican response to AI, automation, and decentralization be? What do you think?
So America needs to be the leader in this world in AI. We need to be. I think it's a race we cannot afford to lose. Because of that, we need to make sure that we're putting guardrails in place to protect families from the consequences of trying to lead the world in AI.
Yeah.
Right? And some of those consequences might be data centers, right? And we need to make sure we're including communities in those conversations before they're built, and not just building one or signing a bunch of NDAs as a city council or as county commissioners and putting one right next to a neighborhood. Like we need to make sure that we're having conversations, make sure they're paying for their own electricity, and that it's not being passed on to the homeowners around them.
Yeah.
And so those are conversations we need to have, but we have no choice. We must lead. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't lose this race to the moon, right? We need to make sure that we're the one that gets there first, and that we're the leader, and we consistently stay in the lead. And I think that needs to be the Republican Party. The GOP needs to make sure that we're encouraging that, but not at the cost of individual citizens and American citizens. We need to include them in that process.
Yeah.
And so that means that we, like I said, the things we can control when it comes down to, because we're going to have to build data centers, we're going to have to build them. We need to make sure they're being built with consent from homeowners and having them actually included in those conversations. We cannot do it without including them in those conversations. And there'll be areas that want to do it and areas that don't want to do it. But it's not something that should be forced upon people.
Yeah.
But I think most Americans would agree we need a lead.
Sure. I agree. Well, I believe there's some bigger companies that do pay for their own utilities and energies because of the data centers that they've built.
And I believe that there's legislation that's been filed for this session in Oklahoma that would require it to be paid for by those companies.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. I agree with that.
I think that's great.
There's also conversations about the water usage. And those conversations have to be had. And again, including the homeowners, the property owners around where those things might happen is the most important thing we could do.
Yeah.
As we do this.
I agree. Oklahoma is an energy-rich state.
Yes, we are.
And we have diversity of energies too, so we need to utilize that to our advantage. At the same time, I feel like both can win. The state and the data centers can definitely win.
Sure.
The residents can win.
Right, and
all
again,
together.
And that's if we're communicating.
Exactly.
That's why those relationships matter.
Yeah.
You know where that works really well? Is where elected officials in those areas actually know the people they represent.
Yes.
When they don't care about how they feel.
Right.
If I don't know you, there's a good chance I don't know how you feel.
Right.
And there's a better chance I don't care how you feel.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to know you so I know how you feel and how this is going to impact you.
Yeah.
And when you include people in those conversations and get to know them, then you have, you're still going to have people upset about things.
Sure.
But if you're trying to include them in the conversations, it's less likely that you're going to have a community that's upset with you.
Yeah.
And because if you're listening to them and the majority of that community doesn't want it to happen, then it shouldn't happen.
Yeah. I agree. Communication, number one, building relationships through that communication.
Yeah.
And there's too many people going on social media, hiding behind the keyboard, pressing buttons that turns in letters into words. And
you got to show up.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things. You got to show up and be a part of the community that you're representing. It's something that we were successful with when I was in office last time, something that we're doing right now because it's a commitment that we have.
Yeah. The next topic, localism versus federal power.
All right.
What does real federalism look like today?
So, actually, this is another funny Sunday school conversation we had as I started talking about the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists with a bunch of 5th and 6th graders, and they looked at me glassy-eyed. Well, I tell you what, I think states' power is important, right? So the powers the state has, and it's important to practice those powers. And so I learned a lot about this when I was chief of the Sac and Fox Nation. And we consider ourselves as a tribal nation to be sovereign. We're a sovereign nation within a sovereign state within a sovereign nation. How is that really practiced? Right? So when you start talking about federalism being practiced, it's practicing the sovereignty which the federal government has in relationship to the sovereignty and the rights states have. So it's important for states, leaders, to know the powers the state actually has. And it's also important for the localities, the cities and towns and their leadership in the counties to understand where their powers start and when their powers end. And so if you understand those within those relationships, then you can have an effective government. And we start talking about federalist powers. And so I'm assuming that's where the question's going. What does it look like to be successful?
Yeah.
It's when everyone knows where their role. So the state knows where its roles start and the federal government's roles end. That's important, and especially when you start talking about emergencies.
Yeah.
And so you start talking about some of the protests that we've had recently or riots we've had. Where does the state's power start and the federal government's power end? Or where does the federal government's power, how far can it go? In states, and you're starting to see different opinions on where that power begins and ends as things happen. But you need to know the truth.
What's the truth?
What's the truth, right? And it's going to vary depending on who's in power, what version of that truth you're going to get. Right? And so we just saw it happen in Virginia. So you just see the new Virginia governor took over. Was it this weekend at some point?
Yeah.
As soon as she took over, she stopped cooperation with ICE in Virginia. She stopped the cooperation. And so she decided to use her power as the chief executive officer of the state of Virginia to end the cooperation. Now, the Trump administration is going to have to decide, well, how far can we go legally, still doing what we need to do to enforce immigration regulations in this country and laws in this country with this state opposing us. And you're seeing that in Minnesota and Oregon and California. You're seeing that happen in those states right now where there's pushback from the leadership. And so you're starting to see this happen and playing out in courts. So you're going to see different versions of the truth. But what we do know is that the federal government does have certain rights they can exercise within the states. And states have to know when and where they can push back and when and where they're going to be able to win in court if they need to push back.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we may have the same issue in Oklahoma if we have a Democrat as president.
Yep.
We may have to worry about some of those things. And right now, we don't have that same concern because our leaders see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And the majority of the citizens in Oklahoma see eye to eye with federal leadership. So the only time you really see any pushback is when something major happens and we're not seeing eye to eye. We saw that with the fires in California, right? And so when you don't have support from the federal government when you need it, or when you have too much support from the federal government when you don't want it, I mean, that's when you start seeing the pushback.
Yeah.
Because there are powers that the states have, and there's powers that the federal government has. And there's a certain sovereignty the federal government has, and a certain sovereignty the states have. And that has to be practiced well, and that's practiced best through good relationship.
Yeah.
And good understanding of where those begin and end.
Yeah.
It was a long-winded answer, but it's how I would have explained it to my students.
That's awesome. That's actually a really good answer. A lot of people, I would imagine, that are listening to this or not listening to this don't understand what you just explained.
And the truth is, someone like John Eccles, who's been in law, he's an attorney, can explain that way better than I can.
Yeah.
But I got it to the point where I know enough to be dangerous. So
No, that makes sense. But that comes to the America First agenda, right? And if you think of the ICE and deportations and all this, Trump may have deported quite a few, I believe, under Obama's administration. He's deported multiples more.
yeah, well, and we're going to talk about that. I mean, I think we should talk about that.
Sure.
Again, it's what narrative are we playing today?
Sure.
There was a period of time where Democrats were all for enforcing immigration.
Right.
When their guy was for it. And then when the narrative changed and we need these people here, to either vote or whatever it is that they want them to be doing. And we saw where a lot of them voted in places like Minnesota. Then the narrative shifts. Or the guy that's doing it's a racist and he's putting them in cages. Well, it's the same cages that were being utilized by the Obama administration.
Sure, exactly.
And so it just that narrative shifts based on what you want to hear. And a lot of the times, and again, I'm not opposed to all media. I think we got some great journalists in the state of Oklahoma, but they get themselves a terrible name when they shift with the political winds.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to be steady hand.
Yeah.
Always the same. They need to be reporting facts all the time. And if you report facts only, then people trust you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, nationally, there's really not any news media that I listen to or watch nationally. There's podcasts that I'll listen to. Real Clear Politics. I don't know if you've listened to that. It's one of the best to hear both sides of what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't get done listening to it wanting to go, burn down a building, right? I feel like I know enough about the situation. Ted Cruz has a great podcast called Verdict, where again from Ted Cruz, very conservative, right? Very conservative, but I trust him.
Sure.
So when I hear him speak about issues, he doesn't do it in an inflammatory way, and because of that, I know I'm getting a conservative viewpoint, but not in such a way that's making me want to act out in ways I shouldn't act out.
Sure.
And I think that's the way good journalism or good news sourcing should be.
Yeah.
In a way that doesn't make you want to act out, doesn't want to make you become an activist for whatever it is that you're doing, but just to inform you of what's going on. And then you take that information and you do with it as you want to do with it. If you take that information and you say, "Oh, now I want to go solve this problem," great, right? But it shouldn't bring about an emotional response, and that shouldn't be the goal.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
But I think we do have some good. I think Abigail Ogle is really good. She uses her platform to help, and we don't have a real relationship, but we've been in the same room and done some interviews together and been at some events together over the years, and I think she does a really good job of that. And there are others also that do a good job of it. And it's easier to trust the more local it gets, but you still see it infiltrate, and you still see that activist journalism where they don't check their ideology at the door still sneaking into our state.
Well,
and that's a problem.
Checking their ideology at the door before they go on a newscast and start reporting, but that's also a management problem too.
Sure, I think so.
And which leads to what's the difference between being in leadership versus being a boss?
Right.
What are your thoughts?
It's an integrity issue.
Yeah.
Really. I think every boss is a leader. Whether you're a business of one, and you're the boss and you're the only employee, you're a leader, and you're either leading for the people that you're providing a service for, or you're leading people that work for you, and the people you're providing a service for. You're leading either by your example that you're setting, or you're leading by the orders that you're giving.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you're right. More than likely, it is a management issue at the top whenever you start having those issues, because you can hold your employees accountable.
You should.
Yep.
Are red states truly governing differently, or just radically?
Repeat that last word.
Radically? It's not rhetorically.
I think they're leading differently. I think red states are leading differently. And I think there's a reason why people are moving to red states.
Yeah.
Again, prioritizing an environment that encourages businesses to move here, or encouraging families to want to move here. Again, that's safe neighborhoods, good schools, a low tax burden, so a good tax environment. Those are reasons why people want to move here. I don't know if you've seen this, but we all know what NIL is, name, image, likeness.
Yeah.
Have you seen that certain schools are advertising whether or not the states have an income tax?
No.
UCF, University of Central Florida, advertised that they are, as they were recruiting these transfer portable students and recruits through the high school, they are advertising that they are a no income tax state. Right?
Wow.
And so, I mean, pro basketball teams, the NBA, NFL, MLB, they all tell as they're trying to get these free agents to come in. Like, you get them in the draft, you get them for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But when you go into free agency, they get to pick and choose where they go for the most part.
Sure.
And because of that, they will let them know whether or not they're a high tax burden state or a low. Actually, they won't tell them if they're high tax burden, right? They'll have to figure that out on their own after they get their first paycheck. But the low tax burden states never make you think about it or make you wait. They tell you up front. And so, yeah, I think we lead differently as red tax as a red state.
Yeah.
And I think mostly it starts with the environment that we're providing for people.
Yeah.
I do not think that there are very many families in Oklahoma that would willingly move to California. Right?
That's probably true.
Not very many. And there's a reason.
Yeah.
And I think there's things we can do to be better in Oklahoma.
Sure.
We talked about some of the changes in education I'd like to see. Some of the things I do right now in my current job, trying to get students into career paths.
Yeah.
Encouraging them to set high standards for themselves. We can do that overall as a state too, and make some adjustments in how we do things. And then other things we need to do, like lowering the income tax. That's an important thing to do.
Yeah.
I think the lower income tax is, the better it is for encouraging families to move here and families to stay here.
Yeah. Love it. If you never run for office, what still matters?
If I wasn't running for office,
Yeah.
what still matters? Relationships. I mean, it's now most. In fact, it's funny. I was actually talking about this morning. There are 3 different relationships I think about every single day. When I wake up, the first thing I think about is my relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. First relationship I think about. Second, relationship with my wife, and then third's my kids. That's the order I think about them in. If my relationship with Christ is right, usually my relationship with Olivia is right. If it's good with Liv, it's usually good with the kids.
Yeah.
Any of those get out of balance, they all go out of whack.
Yeah.
I think if I start my morning the right way, and which I love the encouragement you give to not hit snooze, right? Listen, I'm a snooze hitter, and it's bad. We've talked through this before, I know. The days where I don't hit snooze, better days. Those are better days.
Yeah.
Every single time.
For sure.
I'm never late, but I like to get that extra 5 minutes sometimes, right? But the days that I don't, they're better days. And it's because I start the right way. I've met my first goal. And if I keep those relationships in check, everything else is smoother too.
Yeah.
Because believe me, it's if I go to work upset with Liv or Liv's upset with me, work's harder. If my relationship with any of my 4 children is off, work is harder.
Yeah.
If I haven't been in the Word, my marriage is harder. Like all those things, they all impact one another. But those are the things that matter. Whether I ran for office or not, those things would be the same. Now, can running for office hurt those things? It puts an extra stress on those things. Right? So maybe it's easier for me if I don't run for office. But I like to do hard things.
Yeah.
So I like it. And it stretches you. And you just got to keep those things balanced. It's important.
Yeah. Why should people vote for you?
There's nobody that's going to outwork me. Nobody. Whether they're running for this seat or they're running for a different seat, you're not going to have a state senator that's going to work harder than me across this state. I don't think you have one across this country that's going to work harder than I'm going to work, than I am currently working.
Yeah.
I'm on my second pair of tennis shoes knocking doors. It's important for me to work hard. It's the way I was raised. It's the way my wife was raised. Nothing's ever been given to us. Great support, great encouragement, never wanted for anything because of that. But nothing's ever been given to us. We've always had to work hard.
Yeah.
So we know how to work hard.
Yeah.
And so we're never going to be outworked. But if you want a true servant leader, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
If you want someone that knows how to get the job done, has done it before, I'm your guy. There's no training wheels. You get to work on day one. You get someone that knows the job and that will start work on day one.
I love it. Well, you're proven winner when you're state representative. When you're super young, knocked on doors, got you elected.
Mm-hmm.
Then you left. Then you became the youngest, or one of the two youngest chiefs in the United States of America.
Yep.
And then you're in the administration teaching.
You know, it's funny. I came on as the youngest chief.
Yeah.
And I think it was like that same week, another guy was elected in southwestern Oklahoma. Or southwestern Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Was elected and became the youngest in the state, but by like a few months. But yeah, it's awesome. I think it's great. Young people getting engaged in politics. When I was in office the first time around, when I was 21 when I was elected, there were three of us under 22 or under 23 at that time. Two had been elected at 21 2 years before me.
Yeah.
So they were still 23 or under. So I think it's important for young people to get engaged.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, one question people asked me when I left office, what would you have done differently? I said I would have been older. Because you can't, there's no replacement for life experience.
Yeah.
There's no replacement for the 10 years that I've been out of office.
Yeah.
No replacement for that. Everything that I've learned through trial and error, through hardship, through the good times, through the hard times, you can't replace that experience.
Yeah.
And I think it makes you better at everything you do when you learn from your mistakes.
Sure.
Or you learn from things you can't control.
Yeah.
You have successes, you have failures. Nothing can replace that experience.
Yeah. And you had no shame in being a conservative because I believe you were one of two maybe conservative chiefs in the whole United States.
I was the only Republican executive at the time I was in office.
Okay.
I think there was the vice president of the Navajo Nation was Republican because he was the one that was campaigning with Trump.
Yeah.
So at the same time, because I met Trump on the tarmac.
That's right.
I was, let's just say there were people not so happy with me for meeting with Trump on the tarmac in Tulsa at the same time as he was campaigning for Trump as a leader for the Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
It was let's just say that we were two Republican tribal leaders in this country that were not well liked by some of the tribal members across the country, but that's okay.
Well, thank you for your time, sir. Appreciate it, Chief.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
If you don't mind looking at the camera, Chief Justin Wood, District 17, run for State Senate.
That's right.
Do you approve this podcast?
I approve this podcast.
My name is Wong Lam, and I definitely approve this podcast.
Thank you, sir.